It's the 2021 question 14 long question. And this one is the one about matchsticks. I'm making it about Amber Heard versus Johnny Depp because apparently, historically, if you're watching this in the future, this was the most important thing going on in this last month. There wasn't any other global superpower invading another small country, almost leading to nuclear war. That didn't happen. It was according. Let me just check top videos on Reddit. Amber Heard, Johnny Depp. Something about Star Wars. Amber Heard. Amber Heard. Amber Heard. Amber Heard. Some, I don't know what that is. Prank. Glitter bomb versus Mark Rober. Classic. Wow. Nothing about Ukraine. Thomas the Tank Engine. In fairness, that is a cracking video. Okay, so if you don't know who these people are, I think Amber Heard was a parrot in Saving the Caribbean or something. I don't know. The game is that they're playing this matchsticks game. And the last one who gets a matchstick, who takes the last matchstick wins. You're allowed to take either one or two at the start of this game anyway. So 3 matchsticks. Let's go. Let's see who wins. Why is 3 a losing position? That's the first spin. Okay, so let's see. So Johnny takes a match. Amber gets to take, oh yeah, she can take 2. Well, there you go. Okay, well, what if he took 2 instead? If he took 2, she can still take the last one because he can take 1. So yeah, he's going to lose in this case. So that is a losing position. There's no way around it. And you just have to say that if you take 1, blah, 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 you can take 2, take 1. Yeah, there you go. So you can't win from that position. Next, why is 4 a winning position? Well, let's play it out. So I can take 1. Johnny takes 1. Amber takes, let's just say she takes 1, and then Johnny can take 2. And it's game over. What if Amber tries to thwart this attempt by taking 2? Oh no, he just takes 1 and he gets the last match. Okay, so there you go. That's how that works. And you can say the marking scheme 4 is a winning position because 1 can take a matchstick and then, explain what just happened, in your own words. Next bit is calculate if 5 and 6 are winning positions or losing positions and place your answers in the table below. Okay, here's 5, right? Is 5 a winning position? Well, let's say I'm going to take 2, she's going to take 2, and he's going to take 1. So, yeah, he's going to win in that case. And you can go through a few different permutations of this and you'll find that, yeah, 5 is a winning position. So is 6 a losing position or winning position? Well, let's just say he takes 2 and she's going to take 1, which leaves him, what can he do? He's stuck on 3 now. So good move, Amber, because if he takes 1, she takes the 2. If he takes 2, she takes the 1. And either way, she's going to get the last match or the last 2 matches. So 6 is a losing position. And the next bit then, and look, you can say this marking scheme by filling in win under 5 and lose under 6. So yeah, I don't know if you're starting to see a pattern there. L, W, W, L, W, W, L, W, W, L, W, D, No, I don't see a pattern. Assume you're going to start a new game in 21. I suppose I could keep writing these out. Is there like a number, a certain number? Is it like every even one or is it every... Okay, let's look at the numbers that are loses because they seem to be rarer. It seems to be more wins than loses. And see, is there anything about them that, is a common thing? 0, 3, 6. I mean, I'm suspecting there's something going on there. But to be sure, you could do like 7 or 8 and just keep going and see. This last question says, well, next question, IV says, assume you're going to start with 21. If your opponent offered you first or second, what would you choose? Justify your answer. Okay, so the question is 21 a losing position? And I've put this into a lovely little spreadsheet here for you. So if you extrapolate this out, if you extend it out to 21, you'll see that 21 is a losing position. How do you do this? Well, actually, you know what you can do? Look, on Google Sheets, you can just drag that out. And even Google Sheets knows the pattern. There you go. You see? So it really is every multiple of 3 seems to be a bad place to be. So I don't want to be a multiple of 3. I want the other person to be a multiple of 3. So if I started off on 21, I would want to try and get them down, like make it to be their go on either 18, 15, 12, 9, a multiple of 3. That's kind of what I want to do. I want to put them on a multiple of 3 to set them up to lose. So that's what you have to do here. I would ask my opponent to go first, because that way they'd be on a losing position starting off. And then reason being 0, 3, 6, 9, multiples of 3, all losing positions. Right. So next bit. What strategy would you recommend in a game that started off with 20 matchsticks? Okay, well, let's look back at my winner-loser kind of table. 20 matchsticks. I'm in a winning position. I would like to start off this game. Let me read the question more. What would I do once I start off in a winning position. I want to keep myself away from multiples of 3. So I would like to go first. I think that's what I would say. So let me just show you this with like 8 because it's easier to fit on a page. So let's just say, it's the same question, right? I start off in a kind of just a winning-ish position. I am going to be Johnny Depp here, and I'm going to say I start off 80. I want to take the first go because I'm winning. Okay, I take 2 matches. Wait, do I? No, I don't, because that will put me on 6. I want to go to 7. I want to stay in that winning position. Okay, and then Amber is going to try and get away from 6 by taking 2 matches to push her down to 5, like that. But thing is, I can land her right back onto 3 by taking 2 matches. And that puts me on, well, actually then, and then it's kind of like it's her go because she's on 3. And then what's she going to do? Well, she can take 1 or she can take 2, but either way she's going to lose because even if she takes 2, I get the last match and I win. Okay, so that's the strategy, is to try, you go first and keep them on multiples of 3. And yeah, there's a marking scheme. Could be anything that's a winning position. Same strategy. Question 6. Assume the rules, changing the rules of the game. We just learned this game. Come on. I mean, the cement hasn't even settled here. Okay, fine. They can remove 3 matches as well as 1 or 2. Calculate whether or not each position. Oh, right. So looking back to this table, when we're allowed to take either 1 or 2 matches, 3 seems to be like the mine not to step on. So if I can take 1, 2, or 3 matches, where's the mine? Like, there's going to be the same kind of pattern. There's going to be like a thing to avoid, a multiple of something. Well, I mean, not to be like, I have no idea. I haven't even just used my brain yet, but if I was to sheer guess and say that when I take up to 2 matchsticks, multiples of 3 is a bad thing. If I can take 3 matchsticks, multiples of what is a bad? I mean, I'm going to guess that 4 comes after 3. And I haven't thought about it, but like, I would say that is worth testing as a hypothesis. Let's just imagine that 4 is the bad thing. So let's test it. Because I mean, maybe you're really good at maths and don't need to test it, but I'm going to need to test it. So let's test if 4 is a losing position according to this guesstimate hypothesis. Right. If that's it's her go. She's in a losing position. Let's see. She can take up to 3. 1, 2, 3 matches. Yeah, and then he can take 2. And I can't think of any way of beating that. If you start off at 4, you're going to lose, surely. Because whether she takes, like, because she could take 4, she'd win, but she's 1 short. And he can take 1, 2, or 3. So 4 is definitely a losing position. And by extension, so is 8. And you can keep going in multiples of 4. Okay. So there you go. You can fill in that table, and it's multiples of 4 now instead of multiples of 3. Okay. Well, that was fine, but I hope they don't change the rules again. Consider a variation of the... Stop changing the rules. Right. Okay. Looks like in this game, there's 2 piles now instead of 1 to pick the matches from, and you can take as many as you want. This game's gonna be over pretty quick, I guess. You can take the whole pile if you want. Grand. Okay, so they seem to be the only 2 rules of the game now. There's 2 piles, and you can take all of them. But same kind of victory condition, as in if you get the last one, the last match, you win. Grand. So I'm not going to use. I mean, it'll be confused. A Amber is fine, but I'm going to need to change this to a B. So I'm going to go with Adam Sandler and Beyonce, Beyonce, and yeah, there you go. Funnily enough, when I was googling pictures of these just to go in there, what came up as the top result for Beyonce was, what is Beyonce's weakness? Like she's a Pokemon or something. Who's attacking Beyonce every day? Like that's the top result. The top thing that people Google about Beyonce is, what is her weakness? Defeated again by Beyonce. Surely she must have a weakness. And spoiler, if you click it, it says she drops her phone or leaves her phone places. So that's it. That would be the thing that's flashing to attack her phone. I'm going to make this in a nice diagram. There's an X pile, there's a Y pile, and you're now Adam Sandler versus Beyonce, and you have to fill out this diagram. So let me explain the stuff on the left, and then you'll be able to kind of figure out this stuff in the middle. Right, so 1, 2 comes from having 1 match and 2 match in those piles like that. You see those, they match up. Match. Oh, too many matches. How do I get to 0, 2? What does it actually mean? Well, that 0, 2 would be if I just say, let's say Adam, who's A, takes that. That's one possible move, right? And now it's 0, 2. And then from here, she could take this match or that match. And that's why there's 2 possibilities. Do you know what I mean? Okay. But that's sort of how those things come about. But let's just start going down the one below AY0. So Adam takes the Y, the one from the pile on the right. Okay, so if he takes 1 from the pile on the right, there's 1 match to him. It now is 1, 1. That makes sense. So that's one possibility. What can he do next? Well, there's kind of 2 possibilities now. He could take 1 from X and 1 from Y. He can't take 2 from either. So there's not going to be Y2 because there's only 1 match left. Right. So let's just do one of them at the start. So Beyonce's going to take 1 match, which makes it 0, 1 as a possibility down here. And then what else happens? Well, he's going to take the other one. That's the only thing he can do at that point. There's only 1 match left, right? So he has to take that match. And with that match, he wins the game because he got the last match. There you go. Right. Or what if he, instead of taking the X one, the one on the left, he took the one on the right? Would that make a difference? Well, let's go back in time and pretend this is an alternate universe where he took the one on the right. So, well, actually, it was Beyonce's move, right? So she would take the one on the right. But then Adam Sandler would come along and he'd take the one on the other one, and he'd win anyway. So actually, either way, it doesn't matter. He's gonna win. There is no possible way that Adam Sandler could lose as from a 1-1 position starting off. It's already checkmate at that point. So this path is an Adam Sandler victory for sure. What about the path to the right? We haven't looked at this yet. So there is actually enough matches here to take 2. So we're going to say AY2. So Adam Sandler takes 2 from the right. He takes his 2. And now we're in a position where we've got 1 match on the left and 0 here. So 1, 0 is what you write in the box to get your marks. And then she'll take that last match, and lo and behold, Beyonce will win something. I don't know what the prize was. Probably an Emmy or something useless like. So there you go. That's the diagram there. And very conveniently, actually, it asks, according to this diagram, what is Adam Sandler's best move? Well, we just said it. It's the stuff in the middle to get to 1-1, right? Getting to 1-1 by taking a Y1. So Adam takes a match from the Y pile, the 1 match, a Y1. Then he'll go down that path in the middle and lead to certain victory. There it is in the middle. Describe a winning move from state 2, 3. Okay, so we started off here 1, 2. But what if you started off at 2, 3? Well, let's have a look at it. If you start off at 2, 3, well, one thing that could happen over here is you could take 2 matches. Don't forget, you can take all the matches here, right? So you can clear it out. And yeah, I mean, if you do that, then Beyonce is probably going to win, because she can just take the other one, right? In fact, even if you take the one on the right, she's still going to win, right? Because it's just like, slap, slap. You take one, I take one, game over. Because of that rule, it's going to be a very short game. So the way to victory here is actually much like my friend Lee, who said that the way to win in Vegas is to not get greedy. If you're winning, don't make it look like you're winning, because it'll be banned from Vegas everywhere. And that's what happened to poor Lee. So you just take one instead of you taking the whole pile, and you even the odds. So it's 2-2. If you do that, then, if she takes one, you'll get it down. You can even keep pushing it so it's like the same NN, MM, ZZ. And if you do that, you can continue the game long enough that you'll force them. You can follow the chain down here yourself, that Adam Sandler will win instead of Beyonce. Okay, so the trick to victory here is to trying to get the piles even, and what do they say? If they say the minimum in the marking scheme, it's like try and get it down to even. That's what we're saying here. Okay. Next bit, IV. Hence or otherwise, describe a winning strategy for state NM where starting off they're not even. Okay, but I think we just said that. If they're not even, try and get them even, and that's how you will get in a winning position. Okay, so just in general, that's what we're trying to do. We don't want to just take the thing from one pile to the other. And so, in fact, that is the answer. It's just to say, try and get them even, And the marking scheme says, a winning strategy from state NM, where they're not even, would be to try and even them. I mean, it was a little bit mean, because they're like, you're not allowed to be even, and the answer is get even. I accept your answer. It's like, I thought I wasn't allowed to say that. Well, they didn't say, yeah. So I don't know. Maybe that could be a little bit, yeah. Anyway, there's 2 Adam Sandlers. So explain why NNN is a winning position. They keep changing the rules in a game where 3 piles are used. Okay. Well, if NN was already a winning position, we agreed, because that was the last question. Is NNN a winning position? Is NNNNNNNNN a winning position? Probably. I don't know. Seems reasonable without thinking about it at all. Sounds about right. Okay, so I had a game with just 1-1-1. I'm not very smart, so I do what I always do with Python questions is I just do Python in the side margin without having to use my brain. So I just put in 1-1-1 to see, because I mean it always comes down to the last match, right? So was that a winning position? So I just plugged that in. There's me, and then they take one, and they actually very quickly run out of matches. And yes, you can see that in line 2, you get to a 1-1 position, which is already proven from the last part, an N, N condition, which we established was a victory condition. So yeah, the marking scheme says since NN is already a winning position, all you have to do is if you remove one of those piles, NN0 is an NN. So, we already said that's going to win. And you can see if you go down through it, you will win. Explain any one of the use of decomposition, abstraction, pattern recognition, developing solutions. All right. So this is computational thinking. Computational thinking is breaking a problem down into variables. So a general example would be, let's say, like the Leaving Cert project. Let's say I need to figure out how to reduce the CO2 in the room or reduce the spread of a virus. Decomposition is like, what are the things that matter? So I want you to imagine 5 levers on the wall, things that you can control, like up and down. If you were to put a label on each lever, what would the label say? That is decomposition. It's identifying your variables, the things that are going up and down in this problem. These are the like pieces to this jigsaw puzzle. These are the controls of it. Okay, that's decomposition, right? Then pattern recognition is as I move up this lever, I notice that this one goes down. So these must be inversely proportional. Or I notice that this one is twice that one. That's pattern recognition, right? Then abstraction is, I notice that this lever doesn't really do anything. You know, I move it up and down and it's not seem to affect this problem. So that would be something like, to go back to pattern recognition, I notice that when I open the windows, the amount of CO2 goes down. That's a pattern, you know? It's the more ventilation, the less CO2. But abstraction is what actually matters. Like, technically, the shape of the clouds outside could affect transmission inside, because the shape of the clouds could affect the amount of like wind current, and the wind could pull, you're like, yeah, but like that doesn't really matter that much. It's just not significant, you know? So abstraction is figuring out what variables actually matter. And do you know what? It's probably the amount of people in the room is the biggest lever. Not all levers are equal. Is that okay? And then the last one is algorithm thinking. It's write a program to solve a problem here. Okay, so with that as computational thinking summarized, let's see what the marking scheme said about this. So I'm going to start in the correct order here, because you start off with decomposition, right? So breaking down the problem into little pieces. That obviously you would define what decomposition is and try and just put in some part of this problem. Okay, so in this problem, when we worked out, the win-win-lose, they were all the possible outcomes, and they are all the things that we need to consider. So that's your starting off. That's when you have loads of variables. You haven't really like narrowed it down to which ones matter, which ones are significant yet, but like you've listed all the parts of this problem. You put all the pieces of the jigsaw on the table and you're ready to tackle it. So that is decomposition. The next thing is, now that you've got the piece on the table, pattern recognition. For example, seeing that multiple of 3s or multiple of 4s are the losing conditions. They were the ones that mattered, not so much the ones in between. Do you know what I mean? So you're like, well, I suppose, I'd say that's mattered. I'm slightly wandering now into abstraction. I should stick pattern recognition as saying, I notice that I lose at this position, and don't go any further than that, because when I say that's significant, whether something is significant as in important, as in it really matters, that is up here abstraction. Ignoring other details, we can focus on whether one, I would have said like abstraction is just looking at the places that you lose, because they're the things that occur less often, and you'll find the pattern that way. And what this big chunky paragraph here is saying is, well, even writing numbers up there instead of actual matchsticks. I mean, technically these are matchsticks, right? Why are we writing numbers? Because the numbers, saying 3 is a lot shorter than actually drawing out 3 matchsticks. So we're kind of just looking at what really matters is the actual numbers. And that is kind of summing up or concentrating down on things that are significant and important. So that is an abstraction. So that's the last one. Just remember, it's decomposition, pattern recognition, algorithm thinking, and abstraction. Actually, they just messed it up. It goes decomposition, pattern recognition, then abstraction, then algorithm thinking. It was a bad diagram to choose. If you the way I remember it, by the way, and this is weird, but in my memory palace, it is Al Gore, from like South Park, and the vice president, the man bear pig. It's him doing ab crunches, but he's got these really weird tweed pattern trousers on, and also he's like a zombie and he's decomposing. Even though he like really stinks and he's very smelly and he's on the ground, he's still, while dead, doing ab crunches. And that's the ab crunches is the abstraction. Decomposing is decomposition. Pattern recognition is those horrible trousers, and it is Al Gore, so that's algorithmic thinking. So that's how I remember it. But I mean, yeah, I'll hope, maybe that might help, maybe not. Anyway, yes, I hope you enjoyed this game of constantly changing rules of matchsticks.